notes between January and June, 1,595 shootings. Almost every shooter was black, as were the majority of the victims, but BLM and Chicago politicians blame police and racism. Now listen to this. Are you ready? This is going to blow your mind. The Chicago mayor is black. The superintendent of police is black. The Cook County State's attorney is black. The chief judge of Cook County Circuit Courts is black. The Illinois Attorney General is black. The Chicago Fire Department Commissioner is black. The Cook County Board President is black. The State Senate Majority Leader is black. The Illinois Lieutenant Governor is black. The Illinois Secretary of State is black. They put in parentheses, he is okay. The clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County is black. The Cook County clerk is black. The Chicago treasurer is black. The Chicago Police Board president is black. The Chicago Transit Authority president is black. The CEO of Chicago Public Schools is black. The commissioner of the Department of Water Management is black. 40% of the city council belongs to the Black Caucus. It's quite an amazing systemic racist society that has that, isn't it? But anyway, that's not the question. They're all Democrats, I presume. So the question is, in all of these cases, why do people reelect these people? Your city in Chicago, your state is failing. Why do you elect Democrats to continue the failure? For the same reason they keep electing Hezbollah in Beirut. That's it. It's emotion. They don't do any good for you. They do damage. The Democratic Party damages everything it touches because everything the left touches is ruined. There is no exception to it. Art, music, baseball, football, late night comedy or late night talk shows, universities, high schools, elementary schools, relations between men and women. Everything the left touches, it ruins. The Democratic Party is the party of the left. Why do you elect something that ruins your city? Why? It's emotion. It's all emotion. That's why you have to build up such hatred for Donald Trump, because it's the only way to keep people emotionally invested in the disgusting, destructive Democratic Party. That's it. How could you possibly vote for those racist, sexist, xenophobes? Vote for us. We ruin you. But hey, they're racist. And it works. It works. Alison Armstrong was talking about Moore. In St. Louis, they elected a more left person to Congress. Essentially communist in outlook. The power of emotion, and left is all emotion. It's all emotion. We will continue. 1-8-PRAGER-776. Folks in Chicago have some thoughts on this? Back in a moment.
The Dennis Prager Show, live from the Relief Factor Pain-Free Studio.
Dear members of the entertainment community.
Entertainment community.
Entertainment community.
We know that you're more famous than any of us.
Well, most of us.
I'm mad.
Distressed. Alarmed.
Infuriated.
It's your job to be creative. Creative.
Creative.
And yet, how many of these lame-ass videos have you made that look exactly like this? Like this.
Like this.
You entertain us.
It's literally your whole job.
Here's what we ask.
No. Here's what we demand.
That you reject anything that is anti-original, anti-interesting,
anti-convincing.
We demand that you try harder.
Harder.
Harder. If you do, we'll be with you.
But if not, we'll continue to not care.
About anything.
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 You have to say. Signed, the majority the majority.
The majority.
Of the American people.
And we're done, because that's a reasonable amount of time.
But we're now looking at having to do something. You know, we have to be asked to go into a city like Chicago, which is so ridiculous, where they had like 68 shootings and 18 deaths over the weekend. It's not even comprehensible. Worse than Afghanistan, worse than any war zone. And so we're supposed to be asked. She is supposed to call the mayor, Lightfoot. Lori. She's supposed to call, and she's supposed to say, we need your help. We call her. Would you like to have us go in? And they don't want us. And I say, what's going on? We are going to have to do something very comprehensive, because we don't want to sit back and watch this.
So what is that going to be?
Easy.
What does that mean?
Well, that means sending people in. Just sending people in to clean it up.
So it'd be nationalizing the National Guard?
By the way, the Chicago police are great. They're great. But they're not being allowed to do their job. The greatest example is New York. What's happening in New York? Crime is up 358%. Shootings. Nobody's ever seen numbers like this. They're not allowed to do their job. And if they do their job, if they do it well and it gets a little bit rough, they're afraid that they're going to go to jail for the rest of their life. So we are very tough on it. We are dealing behind the scenes. We're saying you better get going. There's a point at which we're allowed to go in, and that point is rapidly being reached. But we were going into Seattle. We did go into, if you look at the Minneapolis event, you remember that event when they lined up and they just walked right through those streets like there was nothing, the National Guard. But there's a point at which we will have to do it, because we just have to do it for the good of the country. And a lot of people say, don't do it. That's a local problem. That's good for you politically. I don't care if it's good for us or bad for us. We can't let this continue on. And I say to the police, you are loved, you are respected. This is a small group of crazy people. Just stay where you are. It's going to be turned around. It's going to be a turn. You're going to have, people better be very careful, because you are going to have a backlash that's going to be incredible. People better be very careful what they wish for, because the American people are not going to take it very much longer.
For almost 20 years, I've been searching for evidence of one of the greatest miracles of the entire Bible, the miraculous parting of the Red Sea.
Tim, the first question most people ask is, where's Mount Sinai? My first question as a geographer is, where was the sea that was parted and crossed?
So what do you think the crossing site, where would that be?
Well, for once, I'm going to follow the conventional argument here.
When I look at the Exodus story through the eyes of a scientist, then it contains a lot of observations which just make sense to modern science.
I think it is possible to demonstrate that it took place in close proximity to Egypt.
I know that some people would say, well, there were probably 5,000, maybe 20,000.
I want to remind you about flattenthefear.com. It is a great website. Doctors produce it. I told you emotion governs the human condition, not reason. And this is a perfect example. All this fear. I don't know if masks work or not. I can only tell you that there is a massive amount of scientific literature. I read to you in the first hour from the New England Journal of Medicine just a couple of months ago. New England Journal of Medicine is the most prestigious journal in the United States in medicine. 5 authors. It was essentially useless outside of a hospital setting. Takes a long time exposure to be infected by another person, direct contact, short distance, and between 10 minutes and a half hour. Wearing it outside as you pass people by seems to be moronic. And the audacity of people to say it's anti-science to make that claim, I don't know if it's true for certain, but it seems to be, and I got it all from scientists. The left gets away with it. They don't argue. You're anti-racist if you don't agree with them. Excuse me, you're racist if you don't agree with them. You're anti-science if you don't agree with them. So that's why you need flattenthefear.com. It's a very important website. Yes, indeed. My God. People attacking people who aren't wearing masks. God, the other day, where was it? Where did this happen? Oh, yes, when I went into the underground haircut place where I got my haircut. I mean, it's so sick. You have to defy rules to get a haircut in the year 2020 in California. It is sick. It is just sick. It borders on evil. People put out of work by Newsom, who has his whole salary, and all the government workers who have their salaries. The audacity, the contempt for the small businessman, and the genuflection before the big business people. Walmart, you're fine, but this guy's restaurant, you could sit next to each other within inches on an airplane and eat without a mask, but you can't be 10 feet from people in a restaurant and eat without a mask. Is that sick? No, it's evil. Putting restaurants out of business. I don't think Newsom loses a nanosecond of sleep over it. Or Garcetti, or any Democrat. Democrats' view of small business is screw you. It is. That's their view. You're probably Republican anyway. What do I care if you go bankrupt? So that's the where we're at. I read to you. Did we put up the New England Journal of Medicine piece? Sorry, up. Take a look. But you should see what I underlined, so you don't have to read the whole piece. That would be ideal. I don't know if we could do it. No, we can't. All right. Anyway. Good. You did? Good man. Yes, the Wall Street Journal. Incredibly, some in the media want to repeat the second quarter's 33% plunge in the GDP. Biggest plunge in the history of GDP. Measurement in American history. Yep. You know, Sweden never locked down. You are aware of that. No masks, no lockdown. Restaurants were open. Schools were open. If we had the same death rate as Sweden, we would have lost, what did we just, 174,000? What was it, 184,000 people? Is that right? Is that what the number? Yeah. So it's a little more than we have lost. But the amount of people whose lives are ruined, including deaths, people aren't going for cancer treatments. People aren't getting their mammogram. Women aren't getting their mammograms, or shall I say, as CNN does, those who have breasts. Right? They said individuals with cervix. That's the CNN report last week I read. It's a sick world at CNN. It's Orwellian. Individuals with cervixes, not women. Yeah. That's how we're supposed to speak. Do you realize what the left, which is soulless, they need causes to give their lives meaning. That's all this is. This is a search for cause. You know, one of my proofs that there's so little racism in America is that almost everything they point to is a joke. Uncle Ben, Aunt Jemima, the Redskins. This is a joke. This is not serious. I just read to you the list of the officials in Illinois and Chicago who are black. I mean, if a Martian came and said, "Oh, you want an example of systemic racism? Look at Chicago and Illinois generally. Virtually every official is black. That really connotes a racist society, doesn't it? It's really something. Okey-doke. Did you get the murder rate up for Chicago vis-a-vis last year? I'd like to announce it. Yep. You know what Beirut, what they realize now? 6 times they have appealed to the authorities to do something about that building with all that ammonium nitrate. It was every time was ignored. You know why? Because of corruption. That's the great transnational evil. We're getting that way. This country has always had corrupt individuals, but it was essentially not a corrupt society. But like Lebanon, we're getting more and more corrupt because of the left. And by the way, it's almost inevitable as government controls more and more, unless you believe people are angels. What was that? Unless you believe people are angels, you will get more corruption. Why would you want to give more and more power to people when human nature is so flawed? That was the founding principle of America. That's why they believe in limited government. Don't give people that much power. But the left is so sure of their own goodness, they're fine with it.
The Dennis Prager Show, live from the Relief Factor Pain-Free Studio.
So you know the reason why we're in this situation is because of China. Where is the administration on encouraging American companies who are operating and manufacturing in China, especially PPE? How are you enticing them to come back to the United States to manufacture those types of goods? Because a number of these boxes you buy at the store for masks and such say made in China.
But we're also making them here now. We have plants making all over, like Honeywell and companies that you wouldn't think of for making this kind of stuff. They're making the certain types of masks, especially the doctors, for what the doctors need in the hospital, the 95s. They are doing, I went up to one of the factories in Maine, and it's incredible, one of the plants, and it's incredible what all of these companies are doing. We're starting to make a lot. But you'll be seeing over the next 2 weeks, I'm doing something that's extremely bold, and you'll see, I think you'll be extremely impressed by it. Look, I've been fighting this with China for a long time.
Yeah.
You had the globalists, they want to make everything in China. We can make our pencils here. We don't need 57 pencils for every kid. You can have 2. And look, I'm very upset with China. I think what China did is a disgrace. Whether they knew it or not, I won't get into that. But one thing, they knew it well enough that it didn't get into the rest of China. But it did get out to the rest of the world, including Europe and the U.S. Then they tried to blame it on Europe. Then they tried to blame it on American soldiers. They did everything. It's a China virus, whether you like it or not, it's a China virus, and you got 20 other names you can give it. But I am very angry with China.
So just to reiterate, you have something coming on enticing American companies out of China.
Something very strong.
Trending now on The Larry Elder Show.
Texas. Roger, you're on The Larry Elder Show. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, what I heard gave me a big thrill. It said that a lot of police departments are going to pull out on security for the Democrat convention.
Yeah,
and I found that exciting.
That's right. 100 agencies that had agreed to participate in security for the DNC have now pulled out.
Yeah, and I said, I told both of them on a recording, I know they won't hear it, but their staff will. I said, I hope to God you can't get one single policeman or woman to come to protect for security. And I said, it's added feature for us to want to watch. Why don't you fly in those peaceful protesters from Portland at your expense and let them cut loose? That'd be fun to watch.
After all, they're peaceful. Just bring them on in. 100 agencies that had apparently agreed to participate in providing security for the DNC in Milwaukee have now pulled out. Milwaukee City Council has deprived the Milwaukee police of the use of tear gas and pepper gas and other apparent non-lethal uses of force. And so these agencies feel that they really can't do their jobs. I'm sure the hostile attitude toward the police by the Democrats didn't help any, but it's one thing to be hostile towards the police, another thing to essentially disarm them and still tell them to do their jobs. And so 100 agencies have now said they're not coming to Milwaukee to provide security for the DNC. We'll see what happens.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today.
For almost 20 years, I've been searching for evidence of one of the greatest miracles of the entire Bible, the miraculous parting of the Red Sea.
Tim, the first question most people ask is, where's Mount Sinai? My first question as a geographer is, where was the sea?
Anyone can watch Prager University courses anywhere in the world for free, and we want to keep it that way, but we can only do it if we have your support. Go to PragerUniversity.com and donate today. Yes, this is August, and we just picked August because my birthday's in August. It was on Sunday, and we do fundraising for PragerU, which is having a really big impact. And we need it because we could lose our country. There's no guarantee that good things last. So help us help this country and our values. Donating to PragerU.com, 833-PragerU. Each day in August, I speak to a young person who is a member of Prager Force, 10,000 young people around the world. I have not met most of them that I talk to. I'd love to meet all of them. The ones I've met are a delight. So here we go, and I'm speaking with Prager Force member Sadie Eargood, who is 16. Is that correct, Sadie?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, welcome to my show. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So tell us, you're in Michigan, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in Mason, Michigan.
Where is Mason?
I think it's just south of Lansing. It's right near Lansing.
Okay. See, that helps. Sometimes I ask people where a place is, and they name another place I never heard of as being close by, and it's never helpful. All right, Lansing, I quite get. So you have been homeschooled?
I was homeschooled for a little bit during middle school, but I was a junior this past year for up until December. My male teacher took my Women for Trump pin off of my jacket, just like physically removed it, put his hands on me, cornered me, took it off of me, and everyone at the school stood up for him. So I got shoved and spit on and all kinds of stuff in the hallways. So I ended up being forced into online school, and I worked my butt off, and I finished my junior year and my whole senior year. And so I graduated a year early in April.
Your story is beyond belief. You wore a Women for Trump button on your jacket or sweater or whatever, or blouse, whatever you were wearing, and your male teacher physically removed it from you.
Yeah.
I'm reviewing this because it's remarkable, and he did it in front of the class?
Yeah, his desk is at the back of the classroom, and my seat was right near his desk, and I stood up to throw something away, and he just came up to me and started cornering me in the back of the classroom, but only a couple people saw it, I think, because it was a computer class, so they were all working on their computers.
He didn't even say, I would like you to take it off. He actually physically removed it.
Yeah, so when he was coming up to me, he said, "I don't like that pin, and this isn't going to work." And I said, "Well, you don't have to like it. That's fine. We can have our own opinions." And the pin was not going against dress code at all, and I would have taken it off had he asked me, or I would have went down to the office, but he didn't. He just went at it.
I'm actually, I always think I can't be further surprised at what the left does, and then I'm wrong. I sort of retained a level of naivete. So this became known to the rest of the school?
Yeah, so I was texting my mom right after it happened because he had taken the pin from me, put it on his shirt upside down, and said it belonged that way. And I don't know what kind of weird thing that is, but he had it for 5 minutes after I repeatedly asked for it back. And so I just sat down in my seat and started texting my mom what happened, and she called the school and said that I need to be pulled out of that class right now. And so just about when the vice principal came down to get me is when I finally put my hand out at the teacher's face and I said, "Can I please have my pin back?" And then he finally put it in my hand and chuckled about it after walking around the class making fun of me.
And your sense is that virtually every other student sided with the teacher. Will continue. Sadie Eargood, a Prager 4 student in Michigan. I mean, this is rural Michigan, folks. This is not New York City. ReliefFactor.com is the place. I would like you to go there. I want you to read and watch testimonials because it is work. People have told me they've actually canceled surgery. They've told me they threw away a cane. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works for about 70% of the people who try it, which is an incredible. Look, if it worked for 30%, it's worth trying. But apparently for 70%, and certainly for me, my wife, and others that I know personally, Sebastian Gorka swears by it. Give it a try. There's a 3-week quick start, $19.95 plus shipping. And you give it 3 weeks, doesn't work, then you don't order it. 800-500-8384, Relief Factor.
Trending now on The Hugh Hewitt Show.
Jim Comey leaks his memos with the express purpose of getting a special counsel appointed to investigate something they already know is not true. And that's exactly what happened. We get 2 years, 19 lawyers, 40 agents, 500 witnesses, 2,800 subpoenas, and a $30 million cost to the taxpayer, and they come back with nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so all they got left is to attack the Attorney General, who had the courage to state the truth right from the get-go, the first time he testifies after he's confirmed. And you guys attack him every day, every week, and now you filed articles of impeachment against him. It's ridiculous. He had the courage.
Now, Bill Barr, Jim Jordan took the hide off of the Democrats, but Bill Barr said this, cut number 24.
Why do you think these autonomous zones in Democrat-led cities are dangerous to America?
Well, starting with they're dangerous because they are purporting to keep on the outside duly constituted authority of the government. They're also, to me, outrageous because the people who are living now under this autonomous zone haven't selected the government. They've selected the duly authorized government of the city and the state. So it's quite an outrage that people would use force to take over an area. What makes me concerned for the country is this is the first time in my memory that the leaders of one of our great two political parties, the Democratic Party, are not coming out and condemning mob violence and the attack on federal courts.
That is absolutely true, because the Democrats have lost their mind. You vote for them at your peril.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today. Trending now on The Mike Gallagher Show.
Lori Lightfoot is obviously pandering to the mob, and the mob is winning. Chicago's last remaining statue of Christopher Columbus has been removed. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, for several days, the statue had avoided the fate of two others, one in Little Italy, the other in Grant Park, that were removed in the middle of the night after protests. But this morning, Lori Lightfoot's office confirmed the removal of the Far South Side statue as well. This was a bronze figure. It was on a small triangular concrete pedestrian island surrounded by South Chicago Avenue, Exchange Avenue, and 92nd Street in the South Chicago neighborhood. The protesters hadn't gone after this statue for some reason, unlike the other two statues.
In Michigan,
but the
Sadie
mayor was worried.
She's 16, and she just graduated high school. She did an accelerated, course, because you don't normally graduate at 16. But you were at a regular high school. I'll tell you why this story, Sadie, is particularly upsetting to me. And that is that, as I said to my listeners, this is not New York City, or if you're in Michigan, it's not Detroit. This is, pretty what we would think of as middle America, correct?
Yeah, it's not very popular in this area.
Right. So this is very distressing that a school in rural Michigan would be so left wing. I mean, yeah. So tell me about students. There were no students who even privately supported you?
Well, since the incident back in December, I've had a few people come to me and say, I supported you, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to be labeled as a racist. And there was one person, my best friend, she is a Trump supporter, a huge Trump supporter. We had a Turning Point USA chapter together, and so she stuck my side the whole time. And but other than that, not really, no.
Now, I'm just curious. Did the teacher, by physically removing it from you, especially a girl, did that violate any rules of propriety or actual rules for a teacher?
Well, he admitted to it, and so I figured that I was finally going to get my justice. He was going to, get a punishment of some sort. But the prosecutor declined the case because there wasn't enough evidence, even though she didn't interview the two people who actually saw it and admitted that they saw it. And the teacher only got 2 weeks non-disciplinary paid leave as his punishment, and he still works there today.
So he got a 2-week paid vacation?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like a good deal to me. Was the prosecutor on the left as well?
Yeah, she's a Democrat.
I don't understand Michigan. I mean, didn't the president win Michigan?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yes, he did. So I mean, that was a rhetorical question. So I'm trying to understand, if you're in rural Michigan and the whole school is on the left, what hope is there for the president's reelection in terms of Michigan?
I don't know. I'm really scared about that, but because that just proved to me, people aren't waking up as much as I thought they were.
Wow. Look, anything could happen, and I just want my listeners to know, that there was a CNN analyst who said that overwhelmingly the undecideds were going for Trump. But so I don't want to leave everybody depressed, but I also prefer reality and clarity to a phony optimism. So tell me about yourself. Are you going to go to college next year? What is your plan?
So I want to be an actress, and so I have some acting jobs lined up. Some of them are pretty big, actually. So I'm really excited. Hollywood's shut down right now, though, and none of the studios are filming. But so I'm going to see where that takes me and hope that it'll take me to my goal, which is becoming just a full-time actress. And if I do go to college eventually, I'll probably just take some online classes for maybe political science.
So you don't intend to go to college, which I think is wise, by the way. So you don't intend to go to college, and you intend to do full-time acting. Is your goal to get to L.A.?
Well, I don't really care where I'm at. I can just go where I need to go from Michigan.
Well,
that's what I hope to do.
Would you like to do stage acting, film acting? What kind of acting?
I want to do movies and television.
And you've already done some?
I haven't filmed them yet because I started getting these jobs just as soon as lockdown hit everywhere. So everything's still shut down in Hollywood, but once everything is back up and running and I can start filming, then I will be good to go, hopefully.
Are you good at memorizing lines?
Yeah.
Because I'm not. I marvel at actors' ability to do that, aside from their acting. So this is your dream, and you realize you're just going to be living what you've lived in your high school. With your values, you will be quite isolated in your profession.
Yeah, I do realize that. Hollywood is definitely more leftist, but I'm seeing a lot more conservatism within the more independent areas of Hollywood, which is really reassuring to know. But I'm thinking I'm just going to be open about my politics, and if they don't like it, that's fine. I can always go do Christian films since I'm Christian, and I know that they'll accept me there.
Wonderful. So why did you join Prager Force?
Yeah, so I heard of PragerU and I started watching videos a little over a year ago, and I learned so much from PragerU. So I was wondering if there was, something else that I can do. And just miraculously, the Prager Force Instagram account showed up in my people you may know on Instagram. So I followed it, and they messaged me and went over everything and said, do you want to join Prager Force? It's the student ambassador program. And I was like, oh, heck yeah. So I signed up, and I've been with it since April.
Oh, well, it's a joy to have you. Do you have a favorite PragerU video?
Yeah, so my favorite one is Passover with you.
Really? Hold on a minute.
The Dennis Prager Show, live from the Relief Factor Pain-Free Studio. Trending now on the Mike Gallagher Show.
Lori Lightfoot is obviously pandering to the mob, and the mob is winning. Chicago's last remaining statue of Christopher Columbus has been removed. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, for several days, the statue had avoided the fate of two others, one in Little Italy, the other in Grant Park, that were removed in the middle of the night after protests. But this morning, Lori Lightfoot's office confirmed the removal of the far south side statue as well. This was a bronze figure. It was on a small triangular concrete pedestrian island surrounded by South Chicago Avenue, Exchange Avenue, and 92nd Street in the South Chicago neighborhood. The protesters hadn't gone after this statue for some reason, unlike the other two statues. But the mayor was worried that the protesters would injure themselves in trying to topple the statue. She said, here's the statement, following public safety concerns over planned demonstrations, the city has temporarily relocated the Christopher Columbus statue at Drake Fountain in the South Chicago neighborhood until further notice. This temporary relocation, wink, wink, it's never going back, is part of an effort to prevent individuals from pulling down statues in an extremely dangerous manner, which has created unsafe situations for protesters and police.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today. Trending now on the Eric Metaxas Show.
Hey there, folks. I'm talking to Pastor John MacArthur. He's with Grace Community Church in Los Angeles for a few years now. Something has happened in American public life where the church has been forced to be more political. There are many people who say that, look, I simply cannot vote for a man who is thrice divorced. He was clearly a womanizer. He can be vulgar. He boasts. He's not behaving in a way that seems to me consonant with Christian faith. What do you say to people who object to Donald Trump?
Well, Donald Trump isn't our pastor, and he's not a theologian. He's a president. That's a function of leadership. Look, if I have a brain tumor, I don't need to know the doctrinal statement of the brain surgeon.
This show
I just
is
want
now
to know that
available
he's been
on
in
live
somebody's
video
brain
streaming
and got
on
back
Town
out.
Hall TV, as well as our website. If you want to watch the show, not just listen, go to townhall.com and click on the Town Hall TV button.
All righty. Finishing up with this mature, strong young woman, 16 years old, Sadie Eargood. Graduated high school at 16, member of Prager Force, wants to be an actress. And, by the way, do you say actress or actor now?
I say actress, but on my Instagram, I'm labeled as actor, so I don't know. I think it's either one.
I don't know why they opposed it because they need a cause. I should never ask why they oppose things. So finally, I asked this to every Prager Force person, and do you know that I have, in the course of years, never gotten the same response twice? It's at least that I acknowledged or realized. And here's another example. So I asked you your favorite PragerU video, and it was the Passover Seder that I conducted?
Yeah.
Oh, is that interesting? I don't think of it as a PragerU video, but it really is. You're right. So I'm glad you were touched by it. It means a lot to me. Finally, take 30 seconds and tell people why they should donate to PragerU.
Yeah, so PragerU has helped so many people wake up. I've seen it myself right in front of my eyes with friends and family who have watched the videos and they've realized what's really going on, and they get censored so much, which should tell you that they're telling the truth. And by donating, you'd be helping them reach more people with news and facts that they need to hear, and you'd be helping programs like Prager Force.
You're pretty good for 16.
Thank you.
What a delight. Thank you. They are amazing. They give you hope when you talk to these Prager Force people. See, there's no reason not to be mature at 16. See, she is. And it doesn't mean you have less love of life. You probably have more love of life. Well, Sadie, if you come to L.A., look us up. It's a very hard thing to break into. It just is, because there are more people seeking positions than there are positions. There's a lot of luck, too. not just talent. I wish her well. 25,000 gifts, by the way, and you and I do a personal Zoom session together. Or if you want to have friends join, that's fine, whatever you would like. And if you give $50, it's appreciated. Half of our gifts are small gifts. Half of what we get, small gift. PragerU.com, 833 PragerU. This country is in danger. Her story was very sobering. As I said, it didn't happen in Detroit or New York. It's worth fighting for. God bless you. See you tomorrow.